Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. So last time we were talking about modesty. Everyone remembers everything we said? Yes, we do. Little summary, right? There's so much lack of morality these days. Why is it? It's not really because people just want to dress in whatever way, but it's really like the stamp of this generation, right? Why we said, so Rav Hutner says, because it's a rebellion against the greatest principle in the world. What's the greatest principle in the world, you remember? That man is created in the image of God. If you would understand you're made in the image of God, that means you're exactly like built in the image of the greatest thing in the world. You're the daughter of the king. How would you behave? Right? And we said that it is nowadays, people just think, okay, I evolved of a monkey or whatever it is, right? And they consider themselves like more developed animals. But really, I'm not an animal, I'm a human being. And not only am I a human being, my soul comes from the greatest, thing that exists in the world, or I don't know how to call God. God is not a thing, but you know what I'm saying, right? And therefore, what did we say? First definition of teniut, it is sugaba shoshanim, a fence of roses. We said a fence of roses is not really that strong of a fence, but rather its strength relies on its beauty. When something is so beautiful, you don't want to breach it. If you would understand how beautiful you are, you wouldn't want to breach it. Not only that, but you would actually make a fence in order to protect it, right? And therefore we said there's a question people should always ask. Is this dignified? Is this good enough for me? The more that you consider yourself special and great and important and valuable, the more that you behave in that way. Because those rules are in order to preserve that beauty, that greatness. This is why we said, right? Shlomo HaMelech said, Ve'etzen nuim chokhmah. I'm pointing to a board, but there's no board. Okay. Shlomo HaMelech said, Ve'etzen nuim chokhmah, which means in those that are tanua, there is wisdom. We said, tzaniut, it's a container for wisdom. What does it mean? I have to dress nerdy? No, you don't have to dress nerdy. What does it mean? Right? It is not about what I know. It's about how do I behave according to that which I know. Why is it that a baby's too, she's so delicious, and then a grown-up, disgusting, illegal, whatever you want? Right? What do we say? Because a baby doesn't know any better. He's pure. He hasn't developed a soul, and therefore he's a body. Makes sense that you like the body. But a grown-up, you're supposed to be a soul. You're supposed to relate to yourself in a way of a soul. And therefore, the fact that you still look at yourself as a body, that's so sad. Because you're that much greater than a body. Right? And we said it is not that which we know. Intellect is shame. Shame is intellect. If you don't expect someone that doesn't know any better to behave better, then that means that the opposite is also true. The more you know, the more you should behave according to how much you know. Yes? Yes, okay. Told you lots of things. Moving on. Great. It is written in Masechet Derech Eretz, right? That a Talmid Chacham that doesn't behave with tzeniut is not a Talmid Chacham. I'll say this again. It's written, a Talmid Chacham that doesn't behave with tzeniut is not a Talmid Chacham. Does it say women? Does it say clothing? No, what does it say? Okay, so when I saw this, I was like, what does it mean for a Talmid Chacham to dress with tzeniut or to behave with tzeniut? He has to dress black and white? This actually only started in like the last, whatever. It's not like that thing in the Jewish world. You have to dress black and white. I mean, it is nowadays, but not really. Okay, whatever. The point is, what does it mean for a Talmid Chacham to behave in a modest way? Okay, so now I'm going to say something that sounds really funny, but it is not funny. I am a very smart person. Okay, this is how it goes. When I became frum, so I always used to go to shul and look at religious men. Okay, so no, I wasn't checking them out. I just was looking at them. Maybe my husband is there. No, I'm joking. Okay, but now what is the point? For me, it was religious men didn't have arms. I never saw their arms. Now, I know there's something underneath their sleeves, because obviously it's not just floppy. But I never saw their arms. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Now think about your rabbi or whatever. Could you imagine them in shorts? No. Okay? But how many men have you seen in shorts in your life? Not that many. Okay, you've seen many. Okay, but the point is, I never imagined them their arms. So one time I was checking them out to see how do they put on their tefillin. Because when you put on your tefillin, you put it on your naked arm. So I wanted to see what do they do afterwards. So if you ever notice, most people do like this, specifically religious men. They lift up their sleeve, they put on their tefillin, and then they put down their sleeve on top of their tefillin. Check it out, you'll see this. They don't allow you to see their naked arm. It's not comfortable. So I started wondering, why don't they do it? So when I got married, my husband is very frum, okay, very frum. So if I wanted to go hiking, he goes black and white and he's Bekisha. You know, it's like the Hasidic suit. Okay, you'll meet my husband. He's very interesting. Yes, you're in the internet. Okay. He always says everyone knows everything about him, whatever. The point is he wears this like black suit. So we go hiking, he's wearing the black suit, and I'm like, Yeshaya, can you be normal, por favor? Why don't you wear like a polo shirt, something? And he's like, no, lo mejubad. Okay, you could wear a polo shirt, but I have a point, right? So one time we went hiking, my husband is with like his white shirt. This is like as much as he gave in, no suit, but the white shirt until whatever. And suddenly I see all of these like yeshiva guys hiking also, okay? They were all hiking and they were all wearing like mini shorts, you know? Mini skirts, mini shorts. So I'm looking at them and I got so uncomfortable. So then I stop for a moment and I say, why am I uncomfortable? You know, like, I didn't grow up religious. Did I went to a beach? Yes. Did I saw lots of men without shirts? Of course I did. Not that I was interested, but you know, like, I saw tons of men without shirts. Why was I so uncomfortable that these guys were just like wearing shorts? And I realized something really, really important. I wasn't uncomfortable that they were wearing shorts. And again, it might sound a little extreme, but I'm going to explain it. I was uncomfortable with the idea that a Ben Torah, you know, was wearing shorts and I saw him in the shorts. Meaning like the image that I had for him at that moment was like wearing shorts and it wasn't mechubad, it wasn't like honorful at that moment. What do I mean by that? You know, when I was in like school, I was in a contest, you know, whatever. So everyone, like all of the finalists to go, you ever heard of the Bible contest? No? Okay, it's a big thing in Israel. The point is, I was in this Bible contest, so all of us, the finalists, they would take us to like the beach to like learn, okay? And we would go with our teacher to learn, okay? In the non-learning time, we all went to the beach. So my teacher, my more, who happens to be young, he wasn't the most good-looking person in the world, but he was okay, you know, like not that bad looking. The point is, right? Hope he never sees this and know it was him. The point is, we went to a beach. And my teacher like went into a beach without shirt. Would you guys be uncomfortable if you're in the beach and you're going to a beach and your teacher takes off his shirt? Yes or no? Yes. Everyone in the world would be uncomfortable. So now, again, the same question. Why? You've seen millions of movies and things and there's always men without shirts, you know, chanting tantum. I know this stuff, right? Now, why were we so uncomfortable? And therefore I understood a very, very important concept in life. Distance creates respect. When something is in your level, it looks exactly like you relate to it like if it is you, and therefore you lose respect for that. You hear this? Distance creates respect. What does it mean that a Talmid Chacham has to behave in a modest way? What does it mean? He has to behave in a way that's higher. Not because he's like, oh, that Talmid Chacham, but it is that makes him be in a level that seems higher. Because he's behaving with such modesty. He's behaving in a way that's so protected, that's so, you know, separate. And therefore you develop respect for that. You know, men go to a mikveh all together. You know this? Okay, thank God we're not men. But do you think, you know, I asked my rabbi one time, would you go to a mikveh, right, with your rabbi? Of course not. Why not? You all go to nah, because it's my rabbi. And if I look at him, then he looks like me. But we're not the same. He's on a higher level. You understand? I'm going to tell you a very big secret in life. Most people think, you know, why is the Mona Lisa in a museum so protected? Because it is so valuable. This is not necessarily true. It could be true, but it's not necessarily true. I'm going to tell you a little secret. It is not that because something is valuable, I cover it, but rather, when I cover something, I automatically give it value. You hear this? This is huge. It is not that because something is valuable, I cover it. That is true, but much more true is, if I cover something, I automatically give it value. It doesn't matter if it's valuable or not. If you have a piece of jewelry that your grandma gave you, right? It has lots of sentimental value to you, but maybe it's like 5 shekels, okay? $10, okay? So what happens? Are you going to put it in a very, very safe place? Yes or no? Yes. Now, if someone would go and search for it and they find it in a safe place, would they think it's valuable just because it was in that safe place? Yes, but it's actually not valuable. Maybe not money-wise, but it is very valuable because you're covering that much. Meaning the fact that I cover something gives it automatic intrinsic value because everyone is thinking if it's being covered, it must be because it's valuable. You know, when I was little, there was a famous movie called Ricky Ricón, Ricky Rich. Did you saw this movie? Okay, thank God. Okay, this was the wealthiest family in the world. You know, they sing that song will come out tomorrow. Very cute movie. The point is, Ricky Rich is the wealthiest kid in the world. Obviously, you know, the climax of the movie is that the one that works for Ricky Rich wants to steal the vault, right? So whatever, they don't know where the vault is. So whoever saw this movie, okay, how does the vault of Ricky Rich look like? Like Mount, how do you call this mountain where you have the faces of the presidents? Rushmore. It looked like Mount Rushmore, except it had the faces of the Ricky Rich people, okay? So the guy finds out this is the vault, okay? Now imagine you're ready to steal this vault. This vault belongs to the most wealthy family in the world. Before even going in there, what do you think it's in there? Before you even go in there, what must be in there? If this is the wealthiest family in the world, it probably has like blocks of gold, you know, like, you know, the little jewelry from Titanic. I don't know, like, it must have some expensive, some like art, right? The guy goes in there, he's about to steal it. What does he find? Bicycles and pictures, right? He was so mad. By the way, are bicycles and pictures expensive things? No, but did he thought they were expensive? That's what matters. It doesn't matter they were not expensive. If you're putting something in a vault that looks like a mountain, you know, with the faces of people and it's activated by voice control and singing and I don't know all these things, it is that valuable. Because if not, why would you put it in there? That's tzeniut. Tzeniut, it's intrinsic value. I don't cover because I'm ugly, of course not. I don't cover because I'm ashamed, of course not. It is the fact that I am covering gives it value whether you like it or not. You know, because everyone is thinking, why are you covering it? Because it is so valuable. By the way, I want to tell you something that's really important before I go deeper into it, right? Usually when women like start in Judaism, what do they always say? Oh, women are nothing in Judaism because they're never the big people. You always have the big rabbi and women are not the big rabbi and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to give you a women's class because this is not, this is a women's class, but it's not the purpose, right? By the way, women always ask me, why do men say in the morning, thank you, God, that you didn't make me a woman? Is this a question you ever had? Every single woman asks me this. So then I tell her, what do women say? What do women say? Thank you, God, that you made me according to your will. Just a little question. If women are made according to the will of God, who is not made according to the will of God? Men. You ever notice this? No, you're too busy complaining. Okay, I'm just telling you. Right? We're made according to the will of God. So my question is, what is the will of God? If we're really the ones made according to the will of God, why are we not that loud? Why doesn't anyone notice us? You know, like, you ever heard in every single generation there's this big rabbi called the Gadol Hador? Do we have a Rebbetzin called Gedolat Hador? Yes or no? No, like Rebbetzin Kanievsky is famous, but after she died, you know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe when she was alive also. But there's no Gedolat Hador. There is no this concept, right? Everyone says behind a great man, there's a great woman. Why do we have to be behind? You know, we should be in the front. Eh? What do you think? Right? Why do we have to be behind? You know? So now think about this for one tiny moment. One tiny moment. If I would ask you right now, who's the most powerful person in the world? Who would you say? And you're, Hashem. No, person. Who's the most powerful person in the world? Who would you say? I can't deal with silence, but this is easy, guys. It's called Obama, okay? He's the president of the most powerful nation in the world. Does that make sense? I like Putin also, but okay, this is not political commentaries, okay? But Obama is the most powerful person in the world because he's the president of the most powerful country in the world. Does that make sense? Okay. If Forbes magazine, you know Forbes magazine, they always do this thing, was doing the 100 most powerful people in the world, okay? Honestly speaking, how many of them would you say are men? 98%. Okay, maybe Oprah makes it, you know, maybe Ellen, but whatever. Okay, okay, right? Maybe Oprah, maybe Ellen, maybe someone else. The president of Argentina, no, they exchange it anyways. Now she's not a woman. The president of Brazil, no. The president of Germany, wasn't she a woman? She's pretty good. Okay, the point is, 98% of people would be women, would be men. Where are the women, right? Why? Because what do we call powerful, right? Hang on with me. Power means the ability to affect, yes? How do you measure who's powerful? How much ability do you have to affect other people? Does this make sense to everyone? And therefore, in this world, what will make you a powerful person? Two things: politics and money. Yes, this is what makes you a powerful person. Women are not that powerful. But now, let's say I would ask you, close your eyes. Okay, you close your eyes. And then I tell you, think about the 3 people that most affected your life in a positive way. Okay? Think about the 3 people that most affected your life in a positive way. Everyone thought about this? I'm not giving you that much time, but everyone thought about this? Can I guess and say that most of you thought about your parents? And if you have good parents, can I guess and say that most of you thought about your mom even before your dad? Is this true? Will most people in the world think about their mom? Yeah. By the way, can I make a statement? If I would ask you, why did your mom affect you in such a great way? You would probably start quoting all of these things that your mom did for you that she doesn't even know she did, okay? And that she doesn't even know you noticed that she did. Is this true? Will everyone say this? 100%. By the way, if power is the ability to affect, who's actually more powerful, your mom or Obama? Really, your mom. She affected you in such a way that Obama will never, ever, ever affect you, right? But no one knows about it. You know, it's not even that great. She doesn't even know about it. You know, you probably didn't even knew about this until I told you to think about it. Why is she that powerful? You know why? Here it comes. Imagine I have a pot of boiling water. And I put the flame up and the water starts to boil, yes? And I want to get the water into an even greater temperature. Okay, who cooks here? Everyone. You're a Friday woman. If you don't cook, this is bahia. Okay? You have to cook for your husband. What are we going to do? Right? So imagine you put water in a boiling. It's boiling, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You want to get your water into a higher temperature. Higher. It's already boiling. What do? Who knows how to cook? What do? You add salt. It makes it boil quicker. But it doesn't go up into a higher temperature. What do? You turn up the heat. It boils quicker. What do? You know what do? There's something called a pressure cooker. Do pressure cookers cook better than everything else? Why? Because being that it is covered up, it contains the heat. The moment something is uncovered or it has a little opening, the heat goes out and it evaporates really quickly. What makes the temperature so high? The fact that it is covered. Whenever you see a building and you think it is so big, but you know why really the building is so big? Because it has equally big foundations, but you can't see them. But if the foundations wouldn't be that big and that strong, the building wouldn't be able to be that big. That's the woman. You know why no one knows who's the big woman? Because if she would be the big woman, right, and everyone would know about it, she would lose her heat. Because we all know this. You know, there was an amazing, and I'm going to connect everything to what I'm saying right now. There was an amazing movie when I was growing up. You probably saw this, right? It's called A Walk to Remember. Did anyone saw this movie with Mandy Moore? Okay? So it's a typical movie about the popular guy that falls in love with the geek girl. Everyone knows this. So at one point, you know, they're like performing together. So the popular kid like really likes the geek, but he cannot say hi to her in the middle of the school because it's going to affect his popularity. Everyone saw this movie, so remember this part. I have very good memory. So at one point, they're in the middle of the school, and she's walking in front of him, okay? So they're friends. They practice for the play in the afternoon. But he totally ignores her. Totally. So that afternoon, they're meeting again. So he comes and he says, you know, I just want to say that I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. He wants to say sorry, right? And she says to him, listen to his quote. She says, don't worry. I understand. I know you only perform in front of an audience. This is what she said. I know you only perform in front of an audience. Is this life, by the way? Are we all performing in front of an audience? Do we all choose to do according to what everyone thinks and what we should be doing and not really what we want to do or what's the right thing to do? Do we all do this? Why? Okay, this is not your fault. I'm coming back to a Talmid Chacham in a little bit, right? This is not your fault. But I always say there's a huge sickness in this world. You know what's a huge sickness in this world? Okay, I'm part of it, but not that much, thank God. This is epidemia. Killing people, okay? You know what this sickness is called? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you know, Snapchat. I don't know what these things are, but whatever, okay? Do you realize that all of the goal of pretty much everyone in the world is to have a big amount of likes in Facebook? You ever notice this? It's like all of your life is posted on Facebook in a way that it generates likes. How do you know if you're good enough? How many likes do you have? Do you understand we've reduced ourselves to like being like people's pleaser? And I am whatever you want me to be so that I could get a like from you? Like, I know people think about this, but you don't really think about that, what that means. And therefore, I am lost. I have no idea who I am anymore because my whole life is pleasing people. You know, one time I was talking to someone, and she told me, why don't you download Snapchat? So I don't know anything about this thing. So I said, what is Snapchat? So she says, you take a picture, and it sends it to all your contacts for 7 seconds or something, and then it disappears. Okay, you don't even get to keep the picture. Okay, you could screenshot it, but you don't get to keep it, apparently. So I was like, wait, 1 second. You take a picture and then you send it to your contacts and it disappears? What is the point of that? So she says, it's so that everyone will look at my picture. I'm like, for what? She's like, so everyone knows what I'm doing. I'm like, are you this self-absorbed or like low self-esteem? You need to share with everyone what you're doing at every second in order to make it happen. You know how they used to say, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, okay? There's a new quote these days. You ever heard this quote? If it's not in Facebook, it never happened. What is that? Therefore, are you living your life in order to make it to Facebook, or are you really living your life? You know, think about this for one moment. You know, it's a statistic, by the way, I'm not making fun of you. Statistic, 30% of divorces happen because of social media, Facebook specifically. Now, you might think it's because people are chatting with the opposite sex. No, it's not because of this. You know why? Because you just got married, and your husband gave you a 2-carat ring. So obviously, if it's not in Facebook, it never happened, no? So what is the first thing you do? You post a picture of your ring in Facebook, yes? So now, first of all, half of your friends are not married, so they're all jealous because they don't have this ring, right? That's number one. Number two, all of your friends that are married, maybe they didn't get this ring. So what do they notice? Oh my God, her husband is so much better. He gave her this ring. Now it could be your husband cleans the toilet. I'd rather have a husband that cleans the toilet than gives me a big ring. For real, right? But what is Facebook? It tells you what you don't have, not what you have. It's showing you the whole time what people want you to see, but that's not necessarily the reality of your life. You just post what people want you to see. And my husband took me to Bahamas, and her husband did not take her to Bahamas. You understand? And therefore, my life is not good enough. And what happens, like really, think about this, it's so bad. We've reduced ourselves to like being pleasing people. And like my whole life is how can I get you to want what I have? How can I get you to like me? How can I like myself if I don't even like myself? How can I like myself if I don't even know who I am? Because my whole entire life is evolving around pleasing all of my crowd. You know, someone told me, like a teacher, she works with Kiruv, so she told me like one time she added Instagram. So she didn't know how to use it. I don't have Instagram. I have Facebook and it's too much already, right? So she told me she added Instagram and like she doesn't know how to work it. So she gave it to this kid, this girl. Gorgeous, comes from Ivy League schools, like super smart, everything. She has everything going on for her. She added Instagram in her phone. She said she was in shock that, you know what was the first thing this girl did? What was the first thing? She went through each one of her pictures and liked it. She was in shock. She said, this is a girl that has everything going on for her. She needs to like all of her pictures? Think about this for one moment. Is this not, we're performing in front of an audience. You know what God says? Huge. Women, no one knows about you because this is how you cooked. Everyone wants to be a hero if the news are going to put it online, right? But when no one is watching, you know, there's a song in Spanish which you wouldn't know except if you know Spanish. It says, cuando nadie me ve, puedo ser o no ser, and you don't know Spanish, but pretty much it's telling you, when no one sees me, I could be or not be. You see this? Good quote. When no one sees me, I could be or not be. Who do you want to be? That's the greatness of a Jewish woman. You could get to greatness because that greatness is when no one sees you. If people would see it, you would probably be too busy trying to please everyone else. You know, if you cook really good food, everyone tells you, oh, you should go and make a restaurant. What happens the moment you make a restaurant? The food is not good anymore. Why not? Because now it's commercial. It's not coming out of a place that I'm doing it in order to love you. You know what tzniut is? Tzniut is intrinsic value. I don't need the world to tell me how valuable I am. I don't need to always be pleasing. You know, we live in a world, and this is pretty much the quote of the world. If you have it, flaunt it. Isn't this what the world says? You know what tzniut says? If you have it, don't flaunt it. Because the moment you flaunt it, you really lose having it. It belongs to everyone else except for you. And the moment you flaunt it, how is it really yours when being that you're trying to show it off to people and to give it to people, you're going to lose whatever it's yours, trying to make everyone else happy, trying to make everyone else like you. It's not going to keep on being yours. You know what's another definition of tzniut? I don't know which number I'm telling you, but maybe it's like 3 or 4. Tzniut is, I have it, but I do not show it off on purpose. It's not that I don't have it and therefore I don't show it off. It's no. I have it, but I purposely chose not to show it off. Because I want to develop a sense of self-worth and self-value and self-love that is not dependent on anything except for myself. Because if I am that great, do I need people to tell me I'm great? You know, you think about this for one moment. You know who needs people to tell them I'm great? Whoever doesn't know they're great. And you know what happens? You know, this is pretty much how it goes. One time there was this wedding. I'm not going to say where because maybe they'll see it. It was the craziest wedding in the world, by far. Most expensive wedding ever. I mean, I guess the one in Russia was expensive, but most expensive wedding I've heard of that people that I know have gone to, right? Crazy expensive wedding. They made this like gorgeous thing. Every single person that went to his wedding had something bad to say about this wedding. Every single person. Now, the people that made the wedding were probably annoyed because they're making this wedding in order to do something beautiful. But you know what happens? When my self-esteem and my self-worth depends on you, and it's depending on other people whose self-esteem and self-worth depends on other people also, you know what's the way of me making myself big? By making everyone else small. This is the way it works, you know? And if you do an amazing wedding, and she wants her wedding to be amazing, I have to put her wedding smaller so that I could feel big. And therefore, you know what's happening? I'm never going to be good enough. And we live in a world that the greatest sickness is low self-esteem. Because we're never good enough. Because I've reduced myself into likes on Facebook pictures. You know? And therefore, what's going to happen? I don't even know who I am. I'm totally lost. You know? When the tzedakah thing is empty, it makes lots of noise. When it is full, it doesn't make noise anymore. Tzniut is, you have it, but don't flaunt it. Learn how to love yourself because of who you are. And again, I'm going to connect all of this when I get to my final ending. Learn how to see your intrinsic beauty. It doesn't depend on anyone else. No. Learn how to have it all in the inside. You know what tzniut is? Another description, right? The goal of tzniut is, listen to his quote because this is big, to deflect the outside in order to reflect the inside. You heard that? I'll say this again. To deflect the outside in order to reflect the inside. Are we in a world that it's all about outside appearances, what everyone sees? Yes. And therefore what happens? We get lost in the middle and we forget to do the inside. You only perform in front of an audience. Says God, no. Don't show it off. Force yourself to see what's inside. Force yourself to see your inner beauty. The Torah says about Sarah, when the angels came, the angels asked Abraham, where is your wife? What, the angels don't know where Sarah is? Of course they know. What does Rashi says? They wanted to make his wife beautiful in his eyes. That she could have been outside partying, but she was inside. She knew. What does it say in the Torah? It's a beautiful pasuk. It says, Kol kebudat bat melech penima. All of the glory of the daughter of the king, it's inside. When you know you're that special, when you know you're that great, you don't need to act or to prove you're great. It's just here. Everyone knows it. It's like the air you breathe. It is noticed. You walk with such kavod of yourself that everyone notices without you having to even say a word. You understand? It's all inside. So now coming back to what I'm saying, right? A Talmid Chacham that doesn't behave with tzniut is not a Talmid Chacham. What makes you a Talmid Chacham? Where is your honor? Where is your glory? Where is your beauty? Right? You know how you keep this? Distance creates respect. This is the way it works. Distance creates kavod, right? It is not that something is valued and therefore I cover it, yes, but the moment I cover something, I automatically give it a value. We all know this. You know, in the Torah, there's a halakha that says that you cannot see your parents naked. You know this? It's a halakha. Now, I know everyone is thinking, okay, whatever, because everyone changes clothing with their mom. This is completely forbidden in the Torah. You know, when I was like young and single and used to go shopping, I went to Miami. Anyone from Miami? Okay, no. In Miami, they had one of my favorite stores, which is closed now. It's called Lomans. Anyone ever went to Lomans? Do you have this somewhere else? Okay. I really like Lomans, the clothing, but there was something that really bothered me. Mixed changing rooms. I don't want to be looking at anyone. Okay. If you wanted to go into a private changing room, you had to ask for a key. This is so uncomfortable. Now, why do they do this? For selling purposes. This girl tried a dress. It doesn't look good on her. You saw her trying it on. It's like, okay. But like, really, I don't like this. By the way the mirrors were made, were put in like 180 degrees, really like 270. So that if you were trying to cover up, something else would show. Okay, this is really bad. Now, if you would say like, this is wrong, I don't want to change in front of everyone, what would everyone say? It doesn't matter. You all have the same. Wouldn't people say this? Yes, when you look at yourself as a body, yes, you all have the same. But you're not the same. The world is trying to tell you, no, you're not the same. Lehavdil, you know, like without comparison, but in a very wrong way. Think about this for one moment. When the Nazis were going to kill the Jewish people, right? What did they always make them do? What did they always make them do? Strip. Why? No clothing, no kavod. No clothing, there's no honor. Parents in front of... Doesn't work well. The Torah says if you would look at your mom naked, does she look like you? She probably looks worse than you. She's 20 years older, right? Gravity. But she's not like you. You have to respect them. You know, there are all of these studies that say how wrong it is for a mom to speak badly about herself in front of her children. You know this? Like moms go like, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. Now, you should say your mistakes, but you shouldn't like denigrate yourself. By the way, the same a wife in front of a husband. I'm going to tell you a secret, okay? It doesn't matter how many self-esteem issues you have and how not pretty you think you are. Men will never marry you unless they think you're pretty. I have no idea how this works. When I met my husband, I was like, what did you thought when you saw me? He's like, I thought you were the most beautiful thing I ever saw. I'm like, really? Love is blind. Do you understand? It's also deaf, because when I yell at him, he thinks I'm throwing at him flowers, but it's blind. I'm like, so when I go like, you know, I'm chubby, whatever, he's like, what are you talking about? You have attributes. I'm like, I'm chubby. He's like, no. I'm like, you're blind, but whatever. Okay, this is great. If a man doesn't think you look good, he's never going to marry you. But you know what else your husband thinks of you? He thinks you're honest. Does he think you're honest? So then you go, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. So he says, okay, my wife has issues. Either she's a liar or she's actually fat and ugly. You know, you put him on such a bad position because now you cannot be also beautiful and also be smart and honest about the fact that you're not looking good. You understand? Poor husband. So what did you do? You denigrated yourself in his eyes. Because now you're bringing all of these, you know, lacks that he for sure did not think you have in front of his eyes. And now he's noticing it. Right? You hear this? The Torah says, you know what's going to keep your mom in a respected way? You can't see her naked. You can't. Why? Keep her holy. When you're a kid, and if you remember this, which you probably don't, right? All of us thought our parents are gods. You know, like, there's no one that little children admire more than their parents. Their parents are everything. But then parents start saying all of these wrong things about them, and then you stop admiring them because you open your eyes to the truth. You know what keeps your parents in such high state? Distance. You ever notice in the Torah, you're not allowed to call them by their name. You're not allowed to sit in their place. I'm not allowed to sit in my parents' place. It must be because my parents are very important. I have to stand up for them. Distance, create respect. By the way, I have to finish, but I want to show you how this is so true. Everyone close your eyes right now. You have to do this for the sake of my class. No, I'm going to tell. Everyone close your eyes. I want you guys to think of an image of a holy woman, whatever that means. It could be someone you know, it could be someone you admire, or it could be just a picture of a random holy woman, the way that she would be looking, okay? Everyone imagines this. You have to imagine her physically. It's not enough to like think of a name. You have to imagine how she looks physically, okay? Imagine a holy woman. Everyone did this? Do you have an image in your head, sort of? Yes? No? Yes. Okay. Now open your eyes and answer some questions for me. Is she wearing high heels? Anyone imagine someone wearing high heels? A long, long wig, orange, pink nails, or like even like red. Anyone imagine this? Okay, can I dare to say that most of you thought of a woman that it's probably sitting down and you cannot even fully see her face? Can I dare to say this? Did most people have this image in your head? Now, I'm not saying that one wearing heels is wrong. I'm not saying this. It's okay, that's her thing. I'm not saying this. But we all know what holiness is. Holiness is something that you cannot grab. You cannot really put into a picture. I am sure all of you that had an image in your head, it's an image that you cannot even totally give it a definition. Why? Because that's holiness is. You can't tap really into it. That's the purpose of Tzniut. Holiness. Don't be about the showing off, because when it is about looking outside, you cannot really get the inside. And I prove this to you next time. And therefore, number 2 or whatever, right? What is Tzniut? Intrinsic value. Distance creates respect, right? You know, you ever saw Aladdin? Anyone ever saw Aladdin? Okay, you didn't ever saw Aladdin, don't talk to me. A whole new world. Okay, whatever. If you ever saw Aladdin, do you remember when they were in the Cave of Wonders, right? And there was this huge, huge sapphire. What happened the moment Abu touched, you know Abu, the little monkey? Okay, thank God. What happened the moment Abu touched the sapphire? What happened? Everything melted. The moment something is in my level, it melts in front of my eyes. That's exactly what happened. The moment you call your parents by their name, they're like your best friend, and you could sue them, which is something that happens in the world. You understand? The moment I look, you know when you go to a shul, you go to a kotel, you don't give it your back, you walk like this. Why? Because you're supposed to stand in awe of it. If you would give it its back, it's as if it wasn't that important. You understand? Now apply that into your life. I have to sustain myself in a level that's higher. Because the moment I'm in everyone else's level, right, then I lose myself. I lose respect for who I am. Great, thank you so much.